All right. Hey, all of you freedom loving boys and girls, whomever you are, wherever you are, welcome to Centerline Systems. This is our giveaway. Murphy and I are already just kind of laughing about last night. And anyway, Murph's there. He's driving home. He was Murph. Are you coming? You're coming from the Young Marines, right?
Yeah, we just got a new batch of recruits, and I'm the recruit instructor, one of them, not the primary, but I was on scene to be seen, and then I had to jet out of there. So my dad's gonna pick my daughter up, and then I'm headed home to do this, and didn't quite make it home.
I didn't. I didn't think about it, but that's kind of funny because it's the Young Marines. What he's coming from.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do the next charity auction. So hey, we haven't forgot about that, boys and girls. We just got to work out some details. Murph's working on it, so stay tuned. We'll be doing that too. And by the way, Tulsi Gabbard, Donald Trump. I mean, we're going to be name dropping a whole bunch of people to help make that a great charity. Let's get these kids to Pearl for that celebration.
Yeah.
But here we go. Gene from across the pond is here with us. Hey guys, woo! Hey Gene, you're probably not having a cup of coffee. I mean, what is it? It's probably 16 or 1700 your time. You're probably having a gin and tonic. I, on the other hand, am having a cup of coffee in my new favorite mug. I'm here to tell you, whoever wins this today,
you guys and
and it's Murph's call. Right? It was Murph's giveaway. We've already been talking about it. We've looked at, and thank you for everybody who participated and sent in your story. It's kind of tough, honestly. I mean, Murph, do you want to just kind of jump in on that right there? How this isn't going to be an easy decision.
Man, if you start to lose me or something, give it time because I'm almost home and I'll switch to Wi-Fi. But it got you thinking, and that's why I like to ask that question. What's the best cup of coffee you ever had? Because it's open to interpretation, right? And that's what I like about it. It could be. And we've talked about this before, but for people that are just tuning in, don't know what the hell we're talking about, it could be your favorite cup, like where you usually go to get a cup. It can be your brand. It could be that basic, or it could be, as good as some of these were. They really got you thinking about an environment, a time, the people they were with, the circumstance. I mean, that was amazing, and that's what I really wanted people to start thinking about.
Well, here, and I'll just throw it out there because both these guys are watching. So, excuse me, Gene and Learn Me Something.
Okay.
Murph and I were looking at, all the comments last night. Now, there's a couple that came in, although we were on the phone for 3 hours. But strangely enough, we were on the phone for 3 hours. But there have been new comments since we were on the phone last night. But Gene and Learn Me Something, just to Murphy's point, you guys. Your comments came from a completely different angle. It wasn't necessarily the cup of coffee. It was what that represented and how you and how it was part of something that you were figuring out, or how you were looking at a moment in life, or how you still continue looking at it. That was really cool, honestly. I thought, Murph.
Yeah, no, that was great because it got you thinking about their, like I said, the experience they were having as they were having that communal cup of coffee. And I think we've talked about this. We've both been the benefactors of having some great circumstances and company in our times. And you can't hope to, well, you want to, I guess, maybe replicate that. But man, if you can get close to some of those experiences, sometimes that's enough.
Yeah. Learn Me Something says his vote is for Gene. Here, I'm just going to put that up there. Hey, Learn Me Something. You can't. No election interference, Gene. Or Learn Me Something. No election interference, my good man. We've got a plan here. Matter of fact, and I think hey, Murph, about how far until you land?
I am within 5 minutes. Okay. I am. I'm getting ready to hit a gravel road, so it'll probably get a little road noisy. I got to apologize too while I'm thinking about this. My mom watched the last live stream that you posted, and she told me she caught on to what you caught on to. She told me I was too distracted while you were talking. I was playing with something, and I was listening, but she goes, "You need a fidget spinner." I was like, "No, I don't believe in this. I have a knife." And I was constantly over messing with a knife, and you caught it and called me out afterwards. But yeah, so now I'm definitely distracted because I'm driving. So it's even worse, but I have a reason this time. It's just not me playing with something.
Yeah, but you don't have a knife in your hand playing with that as you're driving, do you?
No, I got a stick shift and the steering wheel and a cup of coffee, so I'm multitasking. But I do have a knife in my pocket, several of them actually. So yeah.
No, but yeah, that a knife is your fidget spinner. So, and that's actually a
Oh
pretty
God,
damn good. Yeah, that's a damn good fidget spinner right there.
in most places, yes, but not all.
Well, not while you're driving. Hey,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
not trying to kill time. We're going to do the announcement here in a second.
yeah.
Murphy's got a tough decision. So, but as you're driving, I'm going to pull a couple up here. Give me a second here. I'm going to share a screen with everybody, and yeah, here we go. So, well, and everybody just. So I'm going to share our screw tube a screen for our screw tube channel, and you'll see a bunch of the comments. Now, some of the comments is Murphy and somebody who I call the accessorizer talking shit about me for like drinking wine as opposed to whiskey. So just go past all of that crap they gave me, and so here I just want you to be able to see some of these comments here. Because you and everybody and some people made comments over on Murphy's Instagram. I haven't had a comment over on my Instagram. Murph's got a couple of his on his. Murphy, didn't you say even somebody made a comment on your Facebook? Is that correct?
Yeah, I think I had a couple on my Facebook. I think I screenshotted them and sent them to you. They're and those are people I know personally, and that does not that doesn't hold any weight on who we picked at all.
Right. But oh yeah, it was the one gentleman, who told actually
Dan,
two stories. Yep.
Dan Eastland,
Yeah. And those are great stories. Well, actually, no, there was more because wasn't Megan?
What? Yeah, Megan is a friend of mine. Yep. And then Franz was an Army guy. Yep.
But those were on your Facebook, correct?
Those were on my Facebook. Yeah. Well, and so, I think Dan did my Instagram.
Well, all I'm trying to say here is there's been some cool stories, and okay, there we go. Yeah, there's been some really cool stories, and so for everybody, we're not trying to hide anything here. Let me just come back over here for a second, Dan. I'm going to stop. I'm going to remove that for just a quick second. I mean, here's some Murphy shared the story, so we're not hiding anything. Like this isn't some rigged. This isn't 2020.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? That was the hard thing about this is it's not a random number draw. It's 100% open to our interpretation of what we were looking for, and it was a smaller giveaway. It's not this giant huge thing, but we took it seriously. We wanted to pick somebody that best reflected what we were looking for.
Hey, why don't you just comment on that for a second? And I know this is going to sound cheesy, but I need to go put more coffee in my cup.
So comment on what? What do you leave me with before you do that?
Just on the difficulty and the thought process. So without telling anything right now, Murph and I have narrowed it down to 3, and he's going to have to make a decision. We have looked at every comment that has been given to us, is what I'm kind of saying.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. So the whole idea was like I said, it was designed to get you thinking, to maybe reflect on the community. I guess I want to say the community type aspect of the coffee, the situation, the ceremonial type thing of it. I mean, for me, it's a ritual. It's I don't need the caffeine. I can find it elsewhere, and I'm pretty much naturally wired on certain levels. But a lot of it is the ritualistic aspect of I get up, I have my coffee, I sit and drink. I remember my grandparents doing it. I mean, as far back as my great grandparents, I remember them having coffee, and I would sit with them and felt like I was, I was a big boy. I was sitting at the table doing big boy things. Really, I wasn't doing anything but holding out a chair and another mouth to feed at the time. But that's kind of the thing. I wanted people to maybe think about the coffee, slowing down, soaking in nature, taking in the moment, taking in the atmosphere and the company that you're with. And that's not to say anybody that didn't do that was wrong. It's just that's what really struck me with some of these.
No, and again, and what was great about Learn Me Something and Gene, it was a completely different style of story. It still had coffee in it, right? Coffee was that common denominator, but very different style story. So very difficult. And thank you to everybody. Again, whether you're here with us live, there's a handful of people here right now, or if you watch this later, or if you even just took the time to, again, DM Murphy on his Instagram or his Facebook, or however you did it. We've looked at all the stories, and it's really cool. And again, Murph and I sat and talked for like 3 hours about this last night. And a lot of our conversation was, which was incredibly compelling and interesting, was all based off of, we started just talking about the stories everybody had shared. And then that just caused us to go in our own direction and have, a completely different type of, conversation. But thanks to everybody who's done that. Hey, as you're driving here, just real quickly.
Yeah.
So Learn Me Something said his vote is for Gene. I think Gene and Learn Me Something are trying to do some election interference shit here right now. Gene, though, does say we want more of your stories, Murph. And then we've got Tracer kind of jumping in saying, hey, yo. So Tracer, thanks for coming on here. I don't want to delay it too terribly much longer. How are you doing, Murph? You getting close to landing?
I'm within a minute. I can damn near see my driveway. I'm hitting the straightaway, which means nothing to you guys that don't know where I live, but I'm hitting the straightaway.
Hey, well then I do want to read one of the more recent stories that just came in here. It came in the last hour or so. So I'm going to put this up so everybody can see what I'm doing. I'm still here, but I won't be able to see you guys for a second. I have to go over and manipulate this. So Big Visk and Mrs. Garvey had submitted, this is this morning, right? They made submissions this morning. Both are great kind of stories. Big Visk is telling a story about hunting, and he's sitting there, out in the stand having a cup of coffee, and an owl lands next to him. Like, and you can read it. It's right there for everybody to see.
Yeah.
But goes right past him. And if you've been in the woods and if you've been hunting, and go see the live stream from Thursday with Ranger Reese. We were talking about was hunting and Big Visk. So I like this story because this has happened a million times. And if you're a bow hunter in northern Minnesota, because of the time of the year, one of the greatest moments is you're up in your tree stand and you get a bunch of chickadees, landing in the tree, and they're just hopping around. They're cool little birds, chickadee dee dee dee, and they're just. And it's fun to have those guys around you when you're just sitting still and just being silent and being part of nature. Well, that's kind of a cool part of Big Visk. I've done that too. I brought a thermos out there with me and sat there in the stand and had a cup of coffee, while I'm sitting there hunting. But Visk's story is really cool because he was like, oh, fuck it. Maybe I'm just not going to hunt. I'm just going to follow that all. What the hell was that all about? That was weird. It flew past me. And then he follows it, and then he comes over a hilltop, and then there's a bunch of deer down there. Now, he doesn't say if he harvests any animals, but it almost doesn't matter. But he'll remember that owl, and then by extension, that cup of coffee. So back to what Murphy, to your point, it was his story isn't even about the cup of coffee. It's I was having a cup of coffee while I was doing this other thing, and I think that was a great entry right there because it's just. Yeah, man, I've been there a whole bunch of times, and that stuff is kick-ass. So I do like that. But then I'm going to read this one because this is Mrs. Garvey. This is another kind of cool entry. I mean, I know everybody can see it, but I'll just read it real quickly. Mrs. Garvey, the best cup of coffee I had was on a tent camping trip with my husband and kids. And see, and that's it because she ends this with something kind of funny, and that's why I love this story too. She's with her husband and kids. She just woke up. It was a rainy and cold night. She's all stiff and sore from sleeping on the hard ground. That's the problem with tent camping. That's why I'm going to be truck camping the rest of my life. I ain't sleeping in the mud and dirt anymore because you wake up and you're just sore from sleeping on the ground. And she was riding ATVs the day before. Here she is in the middle of nowhere, heating up water in a metal cup on an open campfire. Now that's just badass in of itself. That's a great way to have a cup of coffee. And she's mixing in just even some instant coffee, and black, no sugar. She throws herself under the bus. She forgot her sugar at home. She sat there in semi-silence with birds chirping and the crows crying. And Murph and I have talked about crows. I love crows. Just this morning outside of my window, I had about 4 crows in this pine tree. Like, get up, like they're just yelling at you. Crows are awesome. So I already like that because she had the crows in there. And then there's the smell of red clay and pine trees. And she's like, yeah, this is what it's all about. Horrible tasting coffee, but the best coffee ever because of the circumstances. That cup of coffee warmed her to the core, and she's ready for another day of adventure and lots of laughter with the family. This was years ago, and here's why I like it. And still to this day, that remains my favorite cup of coffee. My daughter laughs at me as I recount the stories of that trip, and she mimics me sitting next to the fire, all huddled up, with her cup. I can see like a blanket over your shoulders, and you're just holding that cup of coffee, sipping on it by the fire. That's a cool story. Thank you for sharing that, Mrs. Garvey. That's pretty badass. Yeah, Murph, you're okay. I'm going to add you back. Yeah, we lost you for a second. You're back now. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, you lost me because I tried to hook up my headset because I'm not in the truck on the Bluetooth steering wheel thing and all that. And then when I did that, I totally got lost. So I am sorry for that.
Hey, Mike D. Mike D is here. Hey, Mark, caught alive. Well, Mike, if Saturday at 10 o'clock is when you can catch it, we'll take advantage because we're not doing lives on Saturday at 10 o'clock, especially after I was talking to Murphy for 3 hours last night. This is going to be a rare moment on Saturday.
Yeah, your head's got to be heard.
Hey, everybody, I'm a lightweight. I'm not going to lie. I'm not ashamed of it, but I had like 6 beers, and over 3 hours talking to Murphy last night. So, thank God for coffee. I mean, this would be part of my story. I had a great conversation, but now I need that coffee to kind of get it back on track. And how you're just out there bouncing around and just looking all spry and nimble right now. Fuck you, Murphy.
You know what I'm doing? You're getting an impromptu tour of my house because I went upstairs to get my giant bag of coffee that I have to use. And then I'm going to make a cup of coffee while we're doing this. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
good luck.
While you're getting a cup going, I'm going to read one more comment that came in.
Sure.
And that should buy you just a little bit of time. And then let's just go into your thoughts, your top 3 or however we're going to do that. And
okay.
I mean, again, so there just are some cool entries here. Bloody Cestus 89, best cup of coffee I ever had was sitting on the top of an FJ 45 in Botswana, watching a pride of lions eat a zebra at dusk. Well, yeah, that would just be badass just to see that. Dude. I mean, plain and simple, right?
Oh man, some of these are coming in, and it's like, dude, I wish some of these would have been there earlier. Not because I think they would have taken over or anything, but it's like I wish I could have read them myself and like taken a moment to soak them in as I was reading them. That's what I like.
Yeah. Well, hey, and everybody, Murph and I are gonna throw ourselves under the bus real quickly here. We did I don't know, Murph, I thought it was pretty clear. We did the giveaway, and then I went and did the chapter. But, but we actually had to kind of like step up our game a little bit because, and no offense to Gene, we're not trying to like take the prize away from you, Gene, but like just a few days ago, Gene was the only person who'd made an entry. And like we only had one person who even like shared a story. So, that was just a little bit weird.
At that point, it was almost anybody's game because there was only one entry and it was a damn good one. But there was also like, hey, you can't just you want some competition on the field, right? Like nobody wants to show up and win because they're the only ones that showed up.
Gene is making a comment here. Speaking of Gene, he's saying maybe do a video of all their entries for us to enjoy. What do you think about that, Murph? Do we
like read them?
Yeah, we just do a video and we just read all the entries.
Yeah, that could be done. I think we could do that.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to do it right away this morning, but I mean,
no, not today. Your head hurts.
Well, and I've got a bunch of work to do. I gotta pull my head out of my 4th point of contact, get some shit done here today, man.
Okay, again, sure. Whatever.
I'm not as spry and nimble, and it's kind of annoying watching you just jumping around like like some kind of
all nimbly pimbly like.
Oh, good pull, nimbly pimbly. Oh, nimbly
Sometime.
Pimbly. By the way, if you don't know what movie that was, that reference, that's Super Troopers. They did make a Super Troopers too. I mean, I love movies, and I think I'm going to start trying to share some movies and book information going forward too. But Super Troopers is a movie worth watching. Put on your fun cap. Just open your mind up to like stupid kind of but fun adult humor and be all nimbly pimbly, around like a cat. Licking milk from a sock. All nimbly pimbly. All right, you're making some coffee.
I'm making some coffee. I'm getting ready to get it rolling.
All right.
The cup I had has depleted. I am refilling as we speak, so it might get a little bit loud. Let me know if it gets to interfering, and we can mute me if we need to.
Yeah, so you got that's a nice jet boil. I haven't not seen a jet boil with the green wrapper before. That is a jet boil, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's jet boil. You know what's funny is I got this thing. People are going to be like, "Shut up and just do the damn giveaway." But people are. I got this thing, man. This actually caused a fight in my marriage, believe it or not, when I was still married.
A jet boil?
Yeah. I won't go into it because it's not fair to her. But I created issues with buying another jet boil while we were married. And I thought I was doing an okay thing by me. So anyway, yeah, it's a jet boil. I think it was a St. Patty's special at the time. REI had it on sale or something. I don't remember. But the igniter, I've replaced it several times. I've cleaned the carbon off of it. But I've had this one for years. The one I carried in the Marine Corps is gifted to my ex-wife. She has it now. And I'm glad she has it because she enjoys it. So, yeah. And I'm grinding coffee now, so I'm that asshole.
Yeah, well, everybody's got to have their. Give me a second here. What I just did. There we go. No, everybody's got their techniques, and some people grind, others don't. By the way, I just also want to point out, if anyone didn't see what was going on in the background there, and that's why I brought it full screen so people could see what you were doing a little bit better. But Murph also has a 5-gallon. It's a military kind of water can.
Well,
right
this
now.
one's the runt. It's like 2.5 gallons. It's a small one.
I didn't.
Yeah. So it's 10 liters. I've got 5 downstairs, or actually, I say downstairs in my garage over there. I've got 2 5s and I've got 2 2.5s, and I love them, man. If you can get them, you can get them on Amazon. Actually, Scepter is the brand, and they are solid. They are awesome.
Well, and I just wanted to throw that out. That's something that you should really consider having in your vehicle, having in your house. I mean, there's so many. Now, look, 5 gallons of water is 40 pounds. I mean, that shit's heavy. See some of our previous videos over on Millstone. You're not just throwing that in your rucksack and then, with all that other stuff. I mean, water weight, food weight, you don't have to take in consideration. But those storage containers are worth their weight in gold. I mean, if you have one, you're never giving it away. You're never handing it off to anybody. You're like, no, I'm keeping this forever, right? Because they're just so useful. You
know what else they're good for, honestly? Training. If you fill up 2 5-gallon water cans, man, farmer carries or suitcase carries. I mean, you can do a lot with basic equipment, right? I mean, you've seen guys. I wasn't in Afghanistan. I was in Iraq, but we've seen guys that would make do with what they had, and a lot of it's just basic equipment we have handy.
Hey, so learn me something. It's giving you some crap right here. So, well, actually, here's just some comments. It's not crap, but. Here we go. We got Gene saying, nice to see the process. He's saying, nice to see you making coffee, the process of making coffee. Mike Diaz saying, must have fresh ground beans. And then learn me something is like, Murph is going full barista, So
it's a problem. I catch a lot of shit from my buddies about this until I hand them a cup of coffee and then they actually enjoy it. So joke's on them.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Hey, and so just everybody, we are kind of just drawing this out a little bit. We apologize. Murph had stuff going on this morning.
Sorry, but that's 100% me.
But you get to see him making coffee, and this is part of the reason we wanted to have that as the question. But once Murph comes up and he's got his cup, then we'll go into the giveaway. So
I had this grand plan. I was going to do this out. I've got my my little coffee nerd kit that I carry. It's a Yeti Go box or something somebody sent me, and I fill it with my coffee necessities, my nerd gear, my coffee accoutrements and all that. And I've got, like little cups in there, and it's pretty basic. I can do it wood or gas fuel. I've got a wood stove and Ember lit, and I was going to put it together and have it out there and boil my water. And I was going to hang out, but I was going to Martha Stewart it. I was going to have the coffee already ground and hey, I'm going to show you how I grind, but I'm not going to make you guys listen to that awful grinding noise like you just did. And thank you. And I'm sorry. But I was going to have it all pre-ground and then just pour it in. Oh, now we're going to jump over to here. It's already set up. And I was going to do all that. And of course, poor time management on my part. I just got home. So yeah, that was 100% my fault. And I am sorry. And thank you people for staying with us on this.
Yeah. Hey, why don't you just actually just tell everybody what you're doing right now?
Yeah. So right now I'm using an AeroPress. I don't know if you guys seen it. I'm using the Aero.
If you don't mind, I'm going to bring you full screen so people can see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm using an AeroPress. It's an AeroPress Go. I just put the grounds in there, the grinds, however you want to say it, grounds. I put those in there. I poured the water. I'm letting it kind of steep and do its thing. And then I'm going to take, because it creates a gas, all that water creates a gas up under the coffee grounds. I'm going to kind of just stir it up just to keep it moving. It gets super nerdy. You guys that are doing drip coffee laughing at me with a cup of Folgers or something, I'm this asshole, sorry. And then I'm topping it off with a little water. And I've done classes on this, believe it or not, the AeroPress. It's silly, but it's a real thing. So anyway, I'm doing that. I'm gonna let it sit. I've already pre-wet my filter. It comes with this little paper filter. If you don't have one of these and you want a good solid cup of coffee, you can't go wrong with an AeroPress. It is very easy to clean up, very forgiving. Or if you're super controlling, if you're one of those OCD people, it's very it allows for a lot of control too. If you're the nerd like me that carries a little pocket scale for coffee, not for drugs, if you're one of those guys, it allows you complete control. You can make a perfect cup of coffee every time, but I like to wing it. I like to kind of know. I know my roast that I get from Humble Joe's, who I'm going to supply the coffee to the winner with. I know my roast, so I've already got that dialed in. And yeah, so right now I'm just pressing the coffee. It's kind of like a French press, but with a French press, the grounds stay in the bottom of the cup until you're finished pouring completely out of that press. An AeroPress is the opposite. It separates the grounds and you push the coffee through it. The coffee ends up in the cup. Then you drink the cup and it's not like it's continuing to steep. The grounds are totally separate in another container after you're drinking it. So you don't have to worry about that. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of talking with my hands too, because basically that's what I do right now.
Hey, well, so I pulled up AeroPress. I'll show that to I pulled up their website. I'll show that in a second. Excuse me, but here we go. I'm sorry. I'll bring it back down to us as you're just kind of pressing it.
Yeah.
A couple comments have come in. So Learn Me Something is saying it's a cool process. That's the first time I've seen that type of grinder that you had right there, that little hand grinder.
Okay.
And then Gene, he has this Gene from across the pond saying, I have the same setup, hand grinder, 2 AeroPresses, and wood or jet boil and beans for day hikes. And then Learn Me Something, yep. I think there was just a typo here. I think this is here. I thought I had a long process with the French press is what I don't think the word is Harival. I think it's here. I thought I had a long process with the French press. Basically saying you're putting some work in here and some effort. And then I'm going to bring up as you're talking, I'm going to bring up, I got to stop that screen. Okay. I'm going to bring up the AeroPress so everybody can see that right there. I'll just share that with everybody real quickly. Yep. There it is. You can see how it's spelled. I just real quick search and I found it right away. And I don't have one of those. That actually does look pretty badass, Murph.
I was hoping I had an extra Go because I've got, people get them for you for Christmas and stuff. I have 2 XLs, the giant version. And then I have 2 Go's and I have the standard original that I've had forever. And man, that's an interesting company to look into. But the cool thing is about it, to me, at least in camp, and it's a labor of love to put it together and people kind of laugh at you and give you shit. But at the same time, all that there is to throw away is a little paper filter that's got a little coffee on it right now, but you can shake that off, throw it in the fire and let it burn off. It's like paper thin. I mean, it is literally paper thin. It's almost like tracing paper. And then when you push this thing up, and I do it like one-handed a lot of times, when you push that up,
give me a second. I'm going to bring you back. To the screen. Yep. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. That's a puck of coffee grounds. That's all that is. And when you push that thing up, and I'm going to try to do it there, when you push that thing up, it'll fall apart in my hand. But it's just a puck of coffee grounds, and I can throw that right in the yard. It'll go back to the earth. I don't care about it anymore at that point. I still bury it when I'm at camp, though. I bury it, somewhere, so it's not just sitting there. But yeah, so that's it. And then I have my cup of coffee ready to rock, and it took maybe 5 minutes once I got my coffee ground up. I don't know. And you can technically make like multiple cups with that because it's super concentrated. And then I just mix it with water and make kind of an Americano at that point. I'm going to try to move this so I'm not facing, you're not looking at the sun, because I feel like you were looking at the sun just now. So I've moved it.
Hey, while you're doing that, that's good. Yeah, you're good. Here, I'll bring it back to the main screen. Yeah, so the sun isn't as bad now. Yep. Yeah,
there you go. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
I'm doing this on the fly, so.
Just like almost everything we do here at Centerline Systems in these live streams, we're just kind of pulling it out of our 4th point of contact.
Now it's crooked, but it'll be okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. All right. Hey, boys and girls, should we do it, Murph? Are we gonna start?
Let's do it, man. I think we've hammed this up enough. I think they're tired of our shit.
People are like, damn it, I just want to know who the winner is.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we do? Do we want to should we just go right into the winner? Should we read a couple more and then go into that? Excuse me, or do you want to do like kind of a top three, or how do you want to?
Man, I thought they were all really honestly worthy, but yeah, maybe we read the top three, and if people want to know the rest of them, we put out a separate one where we're reading all of them. I mean, I don't know.
Well, so I thought we had a top three until some of the other new things. So I'm not sure if they're really even as a top three right now. I mean, they're all really good. I mean, there was a lot of really good entries.
Well, you have them all kind of at your fingertips. So if you want to read the top two, and then we'll do the top one.
Okay, let me share it. Let me get back.
Like what you think the 2 and 3 are, what you feel they are right now, and then we'll do the top one.
Okay. All right. Well, so I'm not going to lie. I like Mrs. Garvey's story. That's definitely in my top three, Murph. And that came in, just a few hours ago. Because what I really liked about the story is that kind of that message and that family memory. And, and she even says it. Yeah, it was just instant coffee, but it was over a fire out in the woods. I'm all, cramped up. And then to this day, the kids make fun of, because I can just see that, the kids are mimicking her with like a blanket over her shoulders, all huddled up next to the fire. And we've all been there. And that fire in the morning, it's kind of taking some of that night chill and the moisture and the dampness away, and then you're just all wrapped up and, you got your mug in your hands. And so that's kind of just in your hands are just like this. That's why this mug is so badass here, actually.
Yeah.
Back over here. And let me just get rid of this for a second. That's why this mug we're giving away is so bad. It's because you're just wrapping your hands around it. You're keeping your hands warm. You got a blanket over you, and then you're just like,
oh yeah, man,
doing that. And but then to this day, her kids remember that, and it was such a fond memory, and they're giving a shit about that. That's got to be one in my top three, just because of how I interpreted the story and how, because I've been there, I've seen, I'm not gonna lie, I think that was kind of cool.
Yeah, no, I agree because I've had those kind of moments. So I was identifying that with that while she was talking. All these moments that we've read, I've had moments similar. And obviously the owl, I've never had an owl land next to me, but I live here in the woods, and I've got owls that work these woods all the time, and I think I'm talking to them, but they're really like, shut up, asshole, I'm trying to score a date here, talking to another chick. But I totally identify with most of these stories, and I'll tell some of my stories maybe later or on another one or whatever we want to do. Somebody asked about that, and we can do that too. But yeah, I totally identified with her talking about that morning chill and the kids and just savoring the moment. I get that 100%.
Well, and then we already read it, but just the other cool thing of like just being in an environment that most of us will never experience. The gentleman who's talking about, he's on he's in a vehicle in Africa, probably Tanzania, something like that. And he's watching a pride of lions, devouring a zebra, and he's having a cup of coffee as the sun sets. That's just an incredible wilderness moment, just like Big Visk, like we just said with the owl flying by him. Like, I can't even tell you how many times I've had like a pileated woodpecker. That's like, so you got a woody woodpecker,
yeah,
and then you got a pileated, like they're huge. And,
are they bigger than the emperor or the king? Isn't there a king or an emperor, or is that one bigger? I think pileated is the biggest, isn't it?
Well, see, I think that's just how we kind of call them. I mean, like, when you see the giant woodpecker for us, or maybe that's how I've grown up, but, I'll throw myself under the bus, but we just call them pileated woodpeckers. They are huge. But having one of those land in your tree next to you when you're in your tree stand, or all that flock of chickadees, that's actually my favorite, because chickadees are just cool birds. And there'll be like 10 or 20 of them in the tree next to you, and they're all hopping around and doing their little chickadee thing next to you. And you're just like, you sit there. So I like Big Visk's story as well, because for me, selfishly, that takes me back to, so many years ago, but when, just a few years ago, before all my medical stuff kicked in, I was out in the deer stand, the trees, the stand, harvesting animals and enjoying all those sounds of nature, whether it's early in the morning, middle of the day, or at, and in the evening. And, you're kind of just out there in the tree, and no one really knows you're there, and nature just kind of takes place all around you. So that owl flying back, I've seen foxes run underneath my tree stand before. One time it was somebody's dog. I'm like, where in the hell did that dog come? How'd that dog get on my property? I don't even know whose dog it was, but there was a dog running through the woods. which isn't a cool thing because you don't want dogs out chasing deer, but anyway, so I like that because that for me has always been just awesome, being in the stand, having a cup of coffee, and just watch, even if you're not harvesting an animal, but just watching nature take place around you is really cool to me.
Yeah, just being out there, I get you. Yeah.
All right, so some final comments, and let's kind of bring it over to you. Learn me something to say now he has additional gear to buy. Hey, learn me something. Isn't that the shitty part about all these kind of videos? Like, it's the same with me, like, oh, now I've got to go and get one of those things. Thanks for spending my money, dudes, And then Trazer did not know the stream was going on today. Have it on in the background. He's playing some D&D. All right. Hey, hopefully you're having a cup of coffee, Trazer, while you're playing some D&D. Here, I'll lift my mug to you. All right, Murph. Let me just kind of take a quick peek here. So that was Mrs. Garvey. I read that one. Then Bloody Cestus, that was his story. And then again, boys and girls, the other thing Murph and I were talking about last night before we get to okay, what's it going to be? Learn me something, and Gene from across the pond. Very different stories, but still just great stories, and it's a story. It's a very different type of story, but there is this nexus. The cup of coffee is still there, and that's what kind of compelled or the story still revolves around a cup of coffee. So great entries from Learn Me Something and Gene from across the pond. I really like those entries. On that note, Murph, I think we should just go ahead and do it. We're at 36 minutes. We said we were going to try to keep it around 30, and just shit happen. But yeah,
that's not bad. Yeah. I mean, for me driving most of my journey, I that's not a bad timeline. So I think we went with R. Oliver. Is that correct? Is that what we had?
That was my vote. And if you're going with that, then yep.
Yep, I'm on. Do you want to read it so people know?
I will.
Do you have it?
I just brought it up to the stage right now, so everybody should be able to see it, and I'll read it off. So R. Oliver, and let's be fair and honest. Maybe this also tugs on, the heartstrings of Murph and myself both being veterans, and because this is just like such a special story. Like, I don't even know R. Oliver, wasn't in that situation with him, but I can easily put myself in that same situation and see the story and appreciate it exactly how I interpret, like it probably resonated with him. So here it is, short and sweet. Took my dad to the first reunion of his World War II LST crew. And LST is, what is it, Murph? Landing ship?
Transport, landing ship transport, I believe.
Yeah, so it's a landing craft, right? So imagine the crafts that were landing on like Iwo Jima, Normandy.
Really similar to like Saving Private Ryan, that kind of thing, yeah.
Yep. So he's first reunion with took his dad to the first reunion of his World War II LST crew, the 929 Hotel. Got to meet the surviving corpsmen, doctors, and crewmen he served with on, and this is where it's badass because, dude, he served with on Iwo and Okinawa. I mean, those are two huge battles of World War II in the Pacific. I mean, dude, going through one of those and surviving them is an act of incredible. It's just an incredible act in itself. Yeah, but then to be on both of those and make it through, holy shit. So here he is hanging out with these guys. He's, that his dad served with on Iwo and Okinawa. A bunch of old men walked in and transformed into 18-year-olds over a cup of coffee. It was something to see and listen to. Don't think I'll ever top that cup. That's my vote right there, Murph. I mean, I agree. I don't think you can ever top that cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Being around those guys and watching them have a cup of coffee and then going back to that time and place. Again, Iwo and Okinawa. Holy bleepity bleep, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely tells us he's telling a story without telling you too much, which is what I liked about it. Right. It's like, and you can picture all this happening. And there's a book that, one of the guys that was with us in Fallujah was he's a living historian. He's not a journalist or a combat correspondent. He was a writer, and he was doing I guess as it went on kind of book for us. Patrick O'Donnell, Patrick K. O'Donnell, I think is his full name, or with his initial. And he wrote a book called Give Me Tomorrow. And at one point he kind of talks about these guys that hadn't seen each other in years, and it's a reunion. And that's kind of how he got roped into writing this book about them. And he was just like, dude, just to see that crew and how they still interacted 50 years later, 60 years later, and they just went right back into to be in a platoon together, you know, and giving each other shit over some drinks, whether it was coffee or beer or whiskey or whatever it was. So I could see that when I was reading that. That's what I was picturing, and I know that's Korea, but still, that's what I was kind of envisioning.
Yeah. Well, now, so I got to pull it up real quickly. R Oliver, so Rolliver or R Oliver, that's how I read it. R Oliver 7773, and I will reply over on the ScrewTube messages where you left that. But R Oliver 7773, if you are watching this or if you see this, you are winner chicken dinner. Badass bag. This is your mug and still in its packaging. This one's mine that I'm drinking, but this is the mug. And then Murph, Humble Joe's, 2 pounds of coffee, right?
Yep. I'll ship 2 pounds of coffee, however he wants it, whole bean, ground, whatever roast he wants. Get on the website, pick 2, and I'll get them to you.
So on that note, so R Oliver, if you watch this again, I'll at least respond to you on the ScrewTube, so you see that there's response. I'll hold off on responding to everybody else until I get contact with you. So reach out to me. You're going to have to reach out to. Well, you can reach whoever it is, however you want to do it, but obviously we'll need your shipping information. But you're going to have to tell Murph what type of ground you want. If you want beans, ground, all that kind of stuff. And maybe go to Humble Joe's and pick what you're looking for, blend and flavor and all that. So. And then Murph will ship that, and then I'll ship the Babs and the coffee mug separate. Right, Murph? I mean, there ain't no point you sending it to me, and then
yeah, that doesn't make any sense. It's
all right, hey,
because who knows where he's at? Yeah.
Hey, a couple comments just came in. Gene from across the pond, that is the winner for sure. Thanks, Gene. Gene, by the way, you're a good human being, my good man. I've never met you, never had a drink with you. You're a good soul. Thank you very much. That's the spirit of competition / professionalism, and then learn me something. Same thing. Congratulations, R. Oliver. Yeah, now you guys are good guys, and thank you for your submissions. I mean, again, Murph and I talked about that. It was hard last night, trying to figure this out and start to narrow it down. And we loved both of your stories because it was a different type of story, but it still had the coffee aspect in it. And this was not an easy coming up with that was not easy.
No, I've never been the one that's had to pick, right? That's kind of like other than like as a kid, like picking your dodgeball team or something and being the asshole that doesn't pick the last kid. I mean, that's as close as I've been to this situation. And now I'm like, oh, cool. I get to be the one that all these guys are tuning in for this, and I'm shutting them down and picking one person. But it's good when people are kind of, hey, that's awesome. Congratulations. That's good. Because you feel like, hey, I let somebody down, but they're uplifting somebody else. So it works out.
Yeah. Yeah. And thanks to everybody, because everybody, and I know this is going to sound kind of like snowflakey, but I do mean this. Everybody kind of is a winner because thanks for sharing your stories. Like everybody can, whether it's on Instagram or ScrewTube or wherever you left your comment, other people get to see that, and they also get to read your story. And then, to Gene's point, maybe that we do need to do that. Maybe we do another little video where we read all the entries, because there are some entries that some people may not see unless you're over on Murphy's Facebook, right? Facebook, right? Because you had a couple entries over there.
Yeah, I shared it on Facebook and Instagram. I tried to share it in my Instagram stories, and for whatever reason, it kept getting kicked off and deleted and not uploading. So I just said, screw it, and just posted it as a post.
Hey, and I think this is Mrs. Garvey. Just kind of thanks for watching, Mrs. Garvey. I think if I read your ScrewTube name correctly, Mrs. Garvey. She just chimed in and said, congratulations. I agree too. Thank you for the acknowledgement. Hey, that was just a great story. And that was tough. And you threw that in at the last second. So, we're looking at it this morning.
Yeah.
Murph's got a million things going on. We're just trying to get this all set up. And I'm like, oh man, that's a damn good entry. And I really liked it because, again, I can see your kids, mimicking what you looked like around the fire drinking. And so that put you can see it put a big smile on my face. So thank you for submitting that story and sharing that moment with everybody as well. So,
and I don't want this to ever turn anybody down from doing something like this again. I mean, it was a crapshoot. There were so many good entries. It was just up to our interpretation of what we wanted. I mean, any one of them could have been the winner if we'd have been. I could have woke up differently this morning and be like, nah, I changed my mind. This is what I'm going for. But that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Right on. All right. So, we thought we were going to do this in 30 minutes, but us, I mean, especially, Murph and I get together and we can do some talking.
Yeah.
I'm getting too old. I can't do much drinking, but I can definitely do some talking. But
So we're doing coffee this morning.
that's right. Hey, and then we've got here's another one that just came in. I think I'm reading this right. I think this is Mr. Benitez. I think it's Mr. Benitez is how it's spelled out, but Mr. B3. I think it's Mr. Benitez. I think I know who this is. Hey, and I'm seeing that this might be somebody over on Rumble, which we don't really see. Most of these comments are from people on ScrewTube, and I'm not going to lie, ScrewTube is censorship, so it's kind of nice to see that there are folks over on Rumble watching us. But he just said, here's to R. Oliver, and then he did a big, coffee mug and I don't know what that other symbol is. I can't see it, but some other cool kind of symbol. So, hey, Mr. Benitez, if I'm reading that right, over on Rumble, thank you very much for joining us here today, and thanks for raising your cup to Mr. Oliver. All right, Murph, where do we want to go here? We're at 45. Let's just kind of wrap it up and take us out. What do you want? What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, we can wrap it up. Like I said, we can do another video where we read these, and we'll maybe tell a couple of our stories about our favorite cups. I mean, we can do that somewhere at some point if you want. But yeah, I appreciate everybody contributing. I hope it's actually got you reminiscing more about those cups or thinking a little deeper on that. I mean, who knows? Maybe something like this comes up again later, another year or two from now, or within the next, who knows? So always have those stories ready and be looking to make more stories.
Well, and then and seeking out those opportunities in life that give you a story, like that's the great adventure, and that's the beauty to me of, like, whether you're hunting, camping, hiking, fishing, but being in the woods, being with your somebody you love, a family member, friends, and having those shared experiences. And Murph I know this is going to sound weird, but that's kind of one of the glories, the brotherhood of the military is most of the time we share shitty experiences, but those shitty experiences, whether it's combat or training or a total asshole lieutenant or sergeant or whatever, but that's kind of stuff bonds you and brings you together. And then that cup of coffee, just, kind of back to, Mrs. Garvey. Yeah, it's just instant coffee, because that's what you get. It's instant coffee. Like, so the military, you're saving up your cocoa packages, your creamer packages, your coffee packages, and everybody has their own recipe, and you're making, military mocha. And there's just something about that right there,
Yeah, shared suffering, like you said, it's and maybe that's one of those things that makes some of these stories really cool. Is, well, all of them sounds like that they weren't doing it for the gram, they weren't doing it for social media. They were out there living this life, having these experiences, and they collect them and they go, oh man, I remember that. Like, maybe I don't have a picture of that somewhere, or maybe I do, but I'm telling the story of what the experience was. And you just got to live in the moment. And that's a lot of what this is just reflecting on it, going, man, I was really living at that time. Like I was experiencing just life.
Yeah. Yep. And that's such a simple statement, but so open-ended. I was just experiencing life. I mean, like, that's just huge right there. Gene, making a story and sharing it with others beats watching films any day. Amen, Gene. I agree. Yep. All right, Murph, take us on out. Again, R. Oliver, wherever you are, whoever you are, I'll be commenting on your ScrewTube comment, letting you know that you are winner chicken dinner. And so again, you'll have to, you'll be reaching out to me and or Murph, but Murph needs to know some, specifics. Go to the Humble Joe's website, figure out your coffee. Murph's going to hook you up on that. I've got the Babs and your Glass Beach mug right here. And I love how it says not fragile on that. And that's like, it's because this thing is not fragile. I mean, this is what is that game Clue? Like, where you don't know what the murder weapon was, a candlestick.
Oh yeah. It's a possible weapon. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a possible friggin' weapon.
Doesn't it? Here, man. If you read their website, they said they built these mugs based off of fragments they found at a dump site, I think out of Guantanamo or somewhere in Cuba.
Yep.
And you go, how in the hell did they break these mugs? Because man, I've had one for like 4 years now, maybe longer. And I swear you could fucking brain an elk with this thing. Like, I mean, it's solid. It's serious.
Oh yeah. No.
I mean, it almost weighs a pound, doesn't it?
This has got to be over a pound. I think I'll have to look at the specs, but I'm here to tell you, this is easy. And I know this sounds stupid, but I deal with this all, like I've got, like, I can actually in a weird way kind of tell you how many, I'm not Rain Man, but I've just done it so long. Like, hey, there's about 50 pieces of plastic in that bin, because I just can kind of see, well, okay, based on the size and how tall there's probably 50 units in there. Hey, this is approximately this much, or this takes this much pressure, because I'm doing this every day for my business. So I'm not saying that I'm the world's, I'm not Rain Man, but this is easily a pound. There's just no doubt about it. This is
they're heavy. They're hefty.
Yeah. All right, take us on out, Murph. I'm just gonna my kind of comment before Murph takes us out on either a story or wherever he wants to go. I mean, my hat is off to Murph. He came up with this idea months ago. We were only just recently able to execute. We thought about doing it a couple weeks ago for one of the other lives, but then we kicked it off last week. We probably dropped the ball a little bit and didn't let everybody know. I kind of thought it was pretty obvious, but then we got off our asses, kind of did some social media here the last couple of days, really tried to push it out there. Thank you to Murph for coming up with the idea, because honestly, it's been a great, just reading everybody's stories has been awesome for me. And, and I got to find this awesome mug and Humble Joe's coffee, our Oliver's going to experience Humble Joe's coffee and X, Y, and Z. So thank you everybody for sharing the stories, but thanks to Murphy for coming up with the idea. Serious, Murph, that was a good idea. Cheers,
man. Thank you. Like I said, I appreciate it, because I've been asking this question for a long time, and it's one of my favorite things to ask. So to be able to ask it on a platform like this, and to have you help facilitate it, and to reward people for maybe getting them to think a little bit, I do appreciate it, because it's definitely, I don't know where I came up with it, but I was just like, man, it's something that more people need to reflect on, I think, occasionally, whether you drink coffee or not. Maybe it's a beer, maybe it's a campfire, whatever it is, but coffee is the one to me that's the catalyst for a lot of these thoughts. So anyway, like I said, thank you, and thanks for everybody for contributing.
Rock and roll. All right, and boys and girls, stay tuned, because Murph and I are trying to work, and we're working with his buddy who's the head of that Young Marines. And so we're going to have another kind of charitable event here very soon. We're just still, so basically the individuals running Young Marines, they're just trying to figure out the format they want to use and how they'll, because it's a charitable donation and they're an organization. So they're just kind of figuring out some stuff on their side. But once we have that figured out, we are going to do a charity auction, trying to get these kids over to Pearl for the December 7th celebrations this year. So we're not done yet, is what we're getting at, right?
Right. I think we're still cruising. Yeah.
Right on. All right, everybody. Anything else, Murph?
I think we're good, man.
Okay. Well, hey, everybody, again, thank you. Hats off to everybody. Even if you didn't make a tell a story, I hope you enjoyed reading everyone else's stories. Murph and I will talk about, Gene's comment. Maybe we should just do a little, gosh, I was just going to say a little 15-minute video, but Murph and I get to talking, and that'll be like,
we know better.
Yeah. But we'll take that. We'll take that, because there were some comments, over on other platforms that everybody maybe didn't get a chance to see. So maybe we'll, Murph, maybe what we do is we get all that information gathered, and when we do the charity auction for the Young Marines, we just start off the front end of that and we read all the entries.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. That might be
a bad idea.
Yeah. Let's do it that way, because then, let's read all those entries, and then we'll just use that to segue into the charity auction for the Young Marines.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Hey, Learn Me Something just said, last final comment on your guys' point, or on your guys' side, the people watching. Thank you both, and God bless you. Hey, Learn Me Something. God bless you, and yours as well. Thanks for, telling your story. That was a great story. They were all great stories. So thanks a lot. Hey, everybody. Again, hats off to Murph. Great idea. We got more coming in the future with the charity auction. So stay tuned on that. That'll be probably just within a couple of weeks. We'll have that figured out, and we'll kick that off. Until then, you know the deal. I hope you're having a cup of coffee wherever you are right now, or maybe you're having a beer, as Murph said, or a gin and tonic, whatever your thing is. Thanks for watching. Thanks for participating. Thanks to everybody who shared their stories. And you know the deal. Reach out if you got questions, comments, even if you want to, okay, you didn't win, but you want to know more about Glass Beach. I can, maybe, matter of fact, I guess maybe I should, in the link here, I should probably post a link for Humble Joe's and Glass Beach. Don't you think, Murph? I should put that in here with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Justin is Humble Joe's, I don't know what he calls himself. He's the guy. He's the roaster. And that's, he would definitely appreciate that.
Okay. So that's what I'll do. So once I render this video down and it goes up, I'll go in and I'll pin a comment there. I'll put their websites in there for Humble Joe's Coffee, Glass Beach. Thanks to those guys for making kick-ass gear, kick-ass coffee. Thanks to all you guys again for watching. Oliver, I'll respond to you because you are winner chicken dinner, and then reach out to me and we'll get that process going. I can drop this stuff in the mail for you on Monday, but you're going to have to work with Murphy on what you want him to provide for you from Humble Joe's. And what am I forgetting, Murph? I think that kind of covers it, right?
I think it covers everything. Yeah.
All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Thank you so very much. And as always, remember, keep thinking, keep moving, never, absolutely never, do not quit, never quit. You are not defeated until you say you are defeated. So never effing quit. The hard times are in front of us, boys and girls. Buckle up and have a good cup of coffee. And you might need this for like fighting off zombies, like this mug. So all right, everybody, have a good one. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this Saturday morning live that we just did, and we'll see you in the next time. All right, be good. Woo!